What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to our Breeders' Cup coverage, and you can see it. I've already got it up on the screen here. No messing around today. We're going to go right to it. So we previewed the Breeders' Cup Classic, an early preview, I should say, last week. So we're going to do it now with the Breeders' Cup Distaff in this video. It's a very different race than the Classic. I'll say that right away. You look at the Breeders' Cup Classic, it seems to be wide open with a lot of mystery. You got international horses, whether it be City of Troy or whether it be from Japan with Forever Young and Ushba Tesoro, horses like that. Plus, you've got the American horses and things of that nature. You've got kind of the same situation here in some regards. However, I think the big difference is when you look at the American horses in this race, you do have Idiomatic, you do have Thorpedo Anna. They kind of stand out a little bit more than some of the American horses do in the Classic when they're taking on City of Troy, Forever Young, horses of that nature. So let's get to it, though. And again, I'm not going to bury the lead. I'm not going to go through these one by one. I think the thing that everybody's kind of looking for, and you see Idiomatic up on the screen, and I'll scroll right down here. There's Thorpedo Anna. That's the race, right? That's the thing that people are going to really look at and really think, wow, this is the big matchup. Of course, Idiomatic, the winner of the Breeders' Cup Distaff last year, in a gutty race, a race that she just held on, and they kept coming at her, and she was just held on and was able to win. And then, of course, Thorpedo Anna, the sensational 3-year-old, who's just every race really, but her last one, which we'll talk about in a second, has been just sensational this season. Let's talk about the defending champion first. Let me go back up here to Idiomatic. This is a horse last year, long winning streak, came into the distaff, kind of a lukewarm favorite, kind of a favorite because the competition wasn't that great last year. Our 3-year-old division kind of lacking. Our older division in this, category wasn't great either. And she was just able to hold on. It was a workmanlike effort. It was a gutty effort. I don't think it was like the biggest race of her career by any means. I think that version of Idiomatic would get beat without any doubt this year. However, I think the current version of Idiomatic is the best we've seen out of her. Now, you got to think that, yes, she did win on debut. Then she lost up at Saratoga in her next start. On that was on Belmont Stakes Day up at Saratoga in a race. Nothing really badly went wrong for her. Just a lot of little things went wrong that added up, and she still just barely lost. Track bias was pretty strong towards speed. She wasn't quite up to the front, which is going to be ironic as we talk about her here in a second, another race at Saratoga. But anyway, she just couldn't quite get it done. But I didn't think she lost a lot in defeat that day. Came back, was able to win a pretty lackluster race at Monmouth. It was not a great effort for her, but she won. And then she came back to run again at Saratoga in the personal ensign, which was, maybe her best effort ever. Set at just a blazing pace, put away her rival, was trying to hold on late. And then I'll scroll down here. Raging Sea gets the perfect setup and beats her and wins the race. I thought that was a race that showed us, though, she's really, really sharp because to set those kind of fractions and still almost win, it was very impressive. Came back to win last time out at Keeneland in a dominant effort that shows us she might be better than she's ever been, and she's coming into this race in good order. So forget about what you saw from Idiomatic last year. If you remember just the Breeders' Cup and you look at Idiomatic and think, boy, she probably should have got beat last year. She was slowing down, just nobody could catch her. I don't think she can win it this year. I think it's a different horse coming in. I think it's a better horse coming into it this season. So just keep that in mind. Quickly on Raging Sea, that's a horse that if you believe the pace is going to really set up hard, or set up fast, I should say, she'll be coming with a big run down the lane. So Raging Sea, one to think about. Now, let's get to our Thorpedo Anna. And I think, obviously the good news, undefeated when taking on the females this year in the 3-year-old division, has only faced 3-year-olds all season. This will be the first start against older horses. That's always a question mark, but she seems like she can handle it. I thought she was just sensational in all of her starts, even the one she lost in the Travers against the boys to Fierceness. Fierceness, a horse that's going to be one of the top 2 or 3 choices in the Classic coming up. So, to lose, a very narrow margin just by a head to Fierceness, not that big of a deal for the filly here. I think the one negative that people are going to talk about, and we're gonna hear it, and it's something that we will be studying once the pre-entries come out, and once those final preparations are kind of done for the Breeders' Cup Betting Bible in about a week and a half from now. I think the biggest thing you're going to look at is what kind of form she's in, because the Cotillion, while another victory, a grade 1 victory that I'm going to be critical of, which shows you the level that she's at. And I think with these great grade horses, when you sit here and you can be critical of grade 1 victories, it shows you just how good she is and the standard she set for herself, right? So I want to be very clear. Any grade win is a hell of a win. But that being said, we're talking about, can she jump up in class? Can she beat Idiomatic, and others? I don't think that Cotillion effort was good enough to win this race. She may have bounced from the Travers, because the Travers was her biggest race by far of her whole career. She ran her ass off that day. The Cotillion was not a great performance. It wasn't I'm under a hand ride here, and that's why the race was close. It was close because she just didn't run quite up to her standards last time out. Still a win. We talked about it before that race. She could do it. She could win the race and not run her best, and she did. It's still a little bit of cause for concern here. I still am a little bit worried about Thorpedo Anna coming into this. Did she bounce, or is she tailing off? And that's two very different things. A bounce is usually a one-race situation. A horse doesn't run quite as well after running a huge race, and then the horse in the next start will come up and run that same type of huge race. It's just that one race that she kind of doesn't run quite as well at. Or is she tailing off form? And what that means is it's going to be a while before we see her again. She's just kind of tailed off. She's going to run poorly again, or not up to her standards again. And so that's the debate. If you believe it's a bounce and she's going to jump up and run that big race again, I think she can win. If she's tailing off, obviously I don't think she's going to. So that's the decision you're going to have to make. Me personally, I believe it was more of a bounce situation than the horse's tailing off form. We'll obviously analyze workouts. We'll analyze how she's coming into it in depth once we get to the final preview of this and the final picks for this. But as of now, that's kind of my overall thought. Hey, she ran a huge race in the Travers, biggest race of her career. She was going to regress a little bit next out. It's very normal. It happens all the time. And usually they will bounce out of that race and run a lot better. So that's where I'm at right now with her. She's going to be my pick in this race as of now. And again, as I record this on October 21st, we don't even have the pre-entries out yet. That's why I've entitled this Early Distaff Preview. This is not the official one. We'll have an official one, though, next week. So that's kind of my thought there. Let's talk about some of the other ones that are going to come into this race that I think might have a chance. I skipped those two horses there, but Candide is a horse that I think I look at Candide kind of like I look at Raging Sea. If the pace really heats up, Candide is a horse that can come and maybe get the job done. Honor to Lady, not that interested in. Musical Mischief, not that interested in. Now, here's a couple of Japan runners. Alice Verdi, I don't really care about. But what about Awesome Result? This is a horse you're going to hear a lot about once the pre-entries come out on Wednesday, and once the official entries will come out next week. You're going to hear a lot about Awesome Result. This horse has a huge buzz. I would not be shocked if Awesome Result is like the third or fourth choice in the race behind the top two. Undefeated, really a Japan runner who has really jumped out to me as I've really started to study. I will be the first to tell you international racing is not something I follow on a day-to-day basis. But when the horses start to, and to be clear, the reason why I cover every racetrack in the United States, that's enough time for me. I just don't have the headspace to cover all of it. However, in October, when these horses start, hey, they're going to come over, they might come over, I'll really start to study the Japan runners and the European runners. And this is one Awesome Result that really jumped off the screen at me as, man, this horse is really good. In some ways, it's like, man, I wish didn't have to go up against a Torpedo Anna and an Idiomatic, because Awesome Result is a very good horse. So keep an eye on that Japan runner. We'll see where she draws. We'll see all that kind of stuff. But Awesome Result, very nice horse, and definitely a logical alternative. And the thing I like about her, you kind of know Idiomatic, Torpedo Anna, their best races, they're going to beat the American horses. You've kind of seen it over and over and over. But with Awesome Result, it's kind of the new shooter. You don't really know, maybe she's not good enough or maybe she is. She's certainly one that's never faced the two horses that have kind of beaten up some of the American horses. So anyway, that'll do it for the distaff preview, the early distaff preview. Again, I'll scroll up here. Thorpedo Anna versus Idiomatic. That's the big headliner. That's what everybody's looking forward to. So, all right, guys, keep it tuned into the channel all week long. We've got more Breeders' Cup coverage this week, but of course, next week with the actual event, we'll have a lot more for you as well. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alert anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're going to be betting the Breeders' Cup next weekend.